Greetings and welcome to the channel. On this video, I'm going to be covering some of the things that we know about the Nintendo Switch. And, there's a lot of controversy surrounding that console based on what I can understand and see that I'm going to show you right now. And so let's just get into it. So pretty much this article from Game Rant, shows that fans are roasting the Nintendo Switch prices. It says here that Nintendo's controversial pricing strategy for Switch 2 games has fans concerned. The base price for the Switch 2 games could be $80 for digital and $90 for physical copies, which is absolutely ridiculous. And additional fees for upgrades. Fans are criticizing Nintendo for paywalling a tech demo, potential price hikes, and possible extra charges for next-gen upgrades. Goes on to further say that fans have called out Nintendo's controversial pricing strategy for the Switch 2 games, with some calling it a cash grab. During the latest Nintendo Direct, the company revealed a wealth of details about its next-gen console, the Switch 2. However, rather than celebrating the announcement, some fans are more concerned about Nintendo's approach to selling its next-gen games. April's Nintendo Direct was packed with exciting announcements, confirming dozens of anticipated and rumored games for the upcoming console, including Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Kirby Air Riders. Fans also got news on AAA third-party titles from renowned developers such as From Software's The Dusk Bloods. However, buried among these exciting reveals was a detail that has some fans worried about the future of Switch 2, the game price tags, and now they are roasting Nintendo for its extortionate pricing. In a recent post, Redditor IQlicious mocked the Nintendo Switch's cost structure with a meme titled "Hype levels went from 500% to 0%. The meme highlights how fans initially thrilled about the Nintendo Direct were quickly disappointed upon learning that the Switch 2 games might cost $90. Some next-gen upgrades would require an additional fee, and even the console's tech demo wouldn't be free. Here's the meme here. So let's see. Nintendo has seemingly raised the base price of Switch 2 games to $80 for digital versions and $90 for physical, a significant jump from the $50 to $60 range of Switch 1 titles. The company has also confirmed that Switch 2 game upgrades will be sold separately, likely priced between $10 to $15, and that the Welcome Tour will be sold as a standalone game despite being merely a tech demo for the Nintendo Switch 2. While charging extra for next-gen upgrades has gradually become an industry standard, the additional costs for physical copies and paywalling console tutorials have been criticized by potential customers as outrageous. Fans should note that Nintendo has yet to confirm a price hike for all the Switch 2 titles. While pricing for some first-party games such as Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza has been revealed, it remains unclear whether this will become the standard or if, like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's price increase, there will be a case-by-case adjustment. Regardless, thousands of fans have expressed frustration over these changes, with some even calling for a global boycott. Supporters of the boycott point to the Nintendo 3DS launch controversy, where disappointing initial sales forced the company to slash the console's price from $250 to $170, a 32% reduction. So let's discuss what I just read. And if I'm being perfectly honest, what I know about Nintendo based on the years and years I've been following them, and I literally grew up as a Nintendo guy back in '85, there was a point where Nintendo represented excellence. Those days are long over. At this point, Nintendo is all about a cash grab. And that's exactly, in my opinion, and I'm calling it as I see it, that's what this is. Nintendo is a company, and I want you to understand this. Nintendo is a company that has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. If I even go back a few months, maybe I don't know how long ago it was exactly, but when they did that whole Pokemon Go bullshit, that whole campaign brought Nintendo millions and millions of dollars. So this is not a situation where Nintendo does not have the finances, the capital to create a console that is on par with actual current generation systems like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X. No, they're coming out with consoles that's supposed to be new but is based on last generation when it comes to the actual capabilities of the console. So when you have a system that you're releasing and you're titling it next gen and it's $450, but it has the graphical capability of a PlayStation 4 Pro, and in terms of your lineup of games from the prior generation, which would be the Switch 1, in order for fans that have this new console, they're going to have to pay $10 to $15 to play the updated versions of that game that they currently own to take advantage of the Switch 2's graphical capabilities. If you as a Nintendo fan, if you as a Nintendo fan see nothing wrong with that, it is that very mindset that continues to keep Nintendo on the current trajectory and path of releasing ineffectual, anemic, weakened consoles generation after generation. I have seen this from the Wii, the Wii U, and so on and so forth. Now, I will just be the first to say, as a person who understands business, Nintendo are playing their cards very well. They are basically getting the same amount of engagement, and they will sell millions of this bullshit for basically the least amount of effort that they're putting in. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. Nintendo is putting out the most minuscule effort when it comes to creating this console, but they're going to sell millions of this hardware. I 1000% know this. I know it because Nintendo fanboys will literally buy anything. And very few will actually complain. They will buy it and they will get screwed over with a smile on their face. This is a company that has a shit online service when compared to PlayStation Network. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to Xbox, but if we're going to compare their online services to at least PlayStation, they're lacking. When it comes to their customer service, if you're trying to get a return on a game or some kind of issues, their customer service have long since been trash by comparison of Sony and Microsoft. They have very draconian business practices. It does not surprise me. If you look at it from an accessory standpoint, they overcharge accessories. What these Joy-Cons are supposed to be like $90 or some bullshit like that. They're charging for a tech demo, something that should actually be included with the system, at least on the software installed on the console, but they're charging for that. Again, if Nintendo fans are fine with this, again, you guys are 100% you guys are enabling Nintendo to continue this. Because from their perspective, it's like, oh shit, we can do the bare minimum and offer games that are graphically and capability-wise based off last generation, but we're marketing this as new or next gen, and we can charge $80 to $90 for a game like this and get away with it? You bet your ass they're going to do that. And they're doing it again. So it doesn't, it's just interesting to me. Just like they say, there's a sucker born every minute. And it's true. I really don't mean to be disrespectful to Nintendo fans, but at some point in time, you need to take those rose-tinted glasses off and look at this company for what it is. They're screwing you left and right. All for what? Because you could play fucking Zelda? I played that shit back in 85, 87. It's the same shit. Mario, wow, what is he gonna do now? He was a doctor. He was a fucking, he was a kart racer. What is he gonna do? He's gonna make pasta this time? Like, it's crazy to me. It really is crazy. But yet and still, Microsoft, on the other hand, gets criticized for every goddamn thing they do, but Nintendo can do no wrong. The hypocrisy, especially when it comes to the journalism, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And that could be a whole nother video onto itself. So, while I don't particularly care about this whole Nintendo shit, it's news, it's worth reporting on, but at the same time, it does set a potential precedent moving forward when it comes to the pricing strategies of video games moving forward. Because as you may or may not be aware, the upcoming Grand Theft Auto 6, created by, I believe, Rockstar, they're rumored to be selling the game around $100. Now, it was very controversial for them to take that stance, to even have that the inclination to even do this. But if Nintendo follows through in charging people $80 to $90 for games that are essentially PlayStation 4 Pro level, meaning that the type of development costs and development time that a Grand Theft Auto 6 requires, that any other real AAA title requires, is a fraction of the time it takes to make a goddamn Mario game. But yet and still, Nintendo going to charge $80 to $90 for that. You bet your ass Rockstar is going to look at that and say, you know something? We're going to charge $100 for our game. And then moving forward, other big companies, whether you like them or hate them, large companies like a Ubisoft, Capcom, all the big gaming companies, maybe CD Projekt Red will say, you know something, fuck it, let's charge $100 for our games too. And that's not even including DLC and the other editions of the game. So, while I'm not a Nintendo person, but you have to understand that the gaming space, the gaming industry, it's large, but in some respects, it's not that large, because what one company chooses to do can have bleeding effects into Microsoft, into Sony. And that is something that I really want to impress upon you, for those that are still, maybe the 6 or 7 of you that's actually still watching me right now. Because that's where my rage is coming from. I can give a rat's ass about what Nintendo is doing. It's just that knowing that they are essentially going to be charging $80 to $90 for games that are essentially last gen. Like, really wrap your head around this. I really want your comments about that and what you think. Because if you actually are in support of this, I also want to know. I want to understand, what is the logic? What is the upside for a Nintendo fan to buy a so-called next generation console to play the games that are essentially graphically last generation? Because the argument, or rather the excuse that a lot of Nintendo fanboys, and I know quite a few of them, will argue with me and say, well, it's about games, it's not about graphics. Is that right? So, if it's not about graphics, and it's about games, right? and they're like, this paragon of virtue in a sense. I'm being sarcastic. Then why are you charging $450 and it doesn't even it don't include a game? So now if you really want to play something, you're going to be spending upwards of what? $450, and you factor in tax, that's going to bring the system to about $480, $475. And then you buy a game that's going to be what, $70 or $80 to $90, $475, $575, take away 10. So you're probably looking at, to even get off the ground, $565, $555 to play your new Nintendo experience. And I say new because really, capability wise, you're playing games essentially from a last generation, from a technological standpoint. And I find great fault with that, because it's going to give the green light for other companies to start charging for their games. And you can make an argument that maybe a Grand Theft Auto 6, a game of that caliber, may warrant that $100. But let's be honest, I don't want to spend $100. I don't want that shit to be the new standard. I don't have money like that. I'm not Floyd Mayweather. I'm not, I don't have money just coming out my ears like that. So, but now it's like, again, as I said, I'll reiterate, looking at, if I'm these larger companies, I'm going to be looking at Nintendo, and I'm going to be sitting in the board meeting and say, you know something? If we look at the quality of the Nintendo Switch 2's games, they are essentially last generation in terms of capability. And Nintendo is charging their audience $80 to $90 for these games. We're going to be charging $100 moving forward. And at that point, it's going to be hard to argue, because this is not just a third party like a Capcom or a Namco that's like, all right, we're going to charge $100 for our base game. Not like it's a limited edition or a collector's edition. We're talking about the game, the vanilla base game with no additives added. This is Nintendo, a first party developer. They are the ones that's going to be like, we're going to be charging $80 to $90 for all of our games moving forward. You don't think that a CD Projekt Red, a Capcom, Namco, Ubisoft, whoever else is out there, From Software, you don't think that they're looking at that, at the landscape, and say, you know something? If Nintendo's doing it, I guess we can do it too. So that's kind of like why I'm sounding a little bit like, upset, because it really sets this precedent. Because even if you are watching this video and you don't give a rat's ass about Nintendo like I don't, but you understand that what happens on Nintendo's side can sometimes bleed over into me as a Microsoft guy. You might be a Sony guy, or you might actually be somebody that has all the consoles or PC, or you might have everything. But it sets a certain precedent moving forward, and that's what's bothering me. Because I see what's going to happen in the future, and it's not good. If Nintendo actually created a console that was more in line, capability, specification, and graphical wise, and their games reflected that, then I could probably see, okay, I can kind of get it. But we all know, or at least I know, that what Nintendo is going to offer is going to be subpar. It's just going to be a bunch of people that have high levels of nostalgia that's going to buy this console just so they can play another goddamn Zelda game. That's it. Let's call it what it is, because now, to be fair, that does not make up all of the Nintendo fans. There are Nintendo fans that do want more. And those are the fans in a way that puts pressure on other third-party companies that would release their game on an Xbox, on a PlayStation, or PC, or all of them. And they say, look, we want this game on our system. But unfortunately for that gamer, that gamer is not necessarily aware of how difficult it is to take a game that is very graphically intensive and basically gut the game so that it can run at least somewhat well on a Nintendo platform. And then what ends up happening is, now that the game is on Nintendo's console, it's basically going to be shit compared to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And now that fan is going to be upset with the product. They're going to leave bad reviews about the game, and it's going to, especially if we're talking about like a Metacritic. So now it's a snowball effect. And Nintendo keeps doing this because they just know that you're going to buy it anyway. And this is what's been happening. I can go as far back as the Wii U, the Wii. It's been the same thing. So, if you're hell bent on buying this console, let me know. I don't have an echo chamber on my channel. I welcome civil debate. I get to all the comments. I really like to know people's perspective here. I'm not going to buy it. I'll say that right now. But I just don't see the value proposition there. I just don't. And, I know Microsoft is doing their thing with their upcoming handheld system. And there's a lot of issues surrounding them. And I will get to that. So if you're not currently subscribed, please do so. Help me get to 500 subscribers. I'm trying to get monetized so I can get paid to do this and bring you guys content so I can yap away and eventually, be like one of those larger YouTubers so I can keep it real with you and call things like I see it. But, damn, that was a long sales pitch, wasn't it? You got to forgive me for that. I was in full YouTube mode there. But anyway, let me get out of here. I'm going to try to edit this video so I can upload it. Hopefully it doesn't take me 5 hours. Life of a YouTuber. Anyway, take care. Peace.